So hi, I have recorded this PowerPoint so that you'll be able to apply alveolar gas equation to solve MCQs based on that. And the objectives of this session is to tell you about few numbers related to alveolar gas equation, particularly related to partial pressure of oxygen. and then I and then I'll tell you about respiratory quotient. Then I'll tell you the basics behind how we have arrived at this alveolar gas equation. And finally, I'll tell you how to use this equation to solve questions based on this. Okay. So let's begin with few numbers related to alveolar gas equation. So the first fact which I want you all to know is what is the partial pressure of oxygen in this atmosphere? Yeah, what is the partial pressure of oxygen in this atmosphere? We know that the total atmospheric pressure is 760 millimeters of mercury, and here we know 21% is oxygen. So it's nothing but total atmospheric pressure into fraction of oxygen. So when you calculate this, you will get it as 160 millimeter of mercury. So what is the partial pressure of oxygen in this atmosphere wherein we live in at sea level? It is 160 millimeter of mercury. And it is this oxygen which we breathe in. But when this air reaches the alveoli, alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is not 160, it is just 100 millimeter of mercury. I'll tell you the reason for this reduction from 160 in the atmosphere to 100 in the alveoli probably in another 5 minutes. For now, just memorize the number. Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is 100 millimeter of mercury. And across alveoli, oxygen diffuses to get into pulmonary capillary. And during oxygen diffusion, we miss 3 millimeter of mercury partial pressure of oxygen. So what is the pulmonary capillary? What I've drawn here is pulmonary capillary. So what is the pulmonary capillary partial pressure of oxygen? I said we miss 3. So 100 minus 3 would be 97 millimeter of mercury. Now, if in pulmonary capillary you have 97 millimeter of mercury partial pressure of oxygen, what is expected in the peripheral arteries? I want you to remember that from pulmonary capillary, blood gets into pulmonary vein. From pulmonary vein, blood gets into left atrium. Then it goes to left ventricle. And then it comes out as aorta and it breaks into peripheral arteries. Till it breaks into peripheral arteries, you know for sure that there is no gas exchange, which means what is expected in the peripheral arteries? It's the same. So the expected arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen. Please remember, capital A stands for alveoli and small a stands for arteriolar. So expected arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is 97 millimeter of mercury. On the contrary, the actual arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is just 95 millimeter of mercury. Okay, so if you are asked what is the normal arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen, what should be your answer? 95 millimeter of mercury. So what is the reason for this reduction from 97 in the pulmonary capillary to 95 in the peripheral arteries? It is because of physiological shunt. So what accounts for this physiological shunt? Bronchial veins. There are two reasons for this reduction. One is bronchial veins carrying deoxygenated blood drains directly into pulmonary veins. What do you expect a vein to do? If it's a vein carrying deoxygenated blood, it should have entered into the right side of the heart. It should have come out as pulmonary artery blood. It should have reached lungs, then it should have got oxygenated and then it should have entered into the left side. But what happens is some bronchial veins carrying deoxygenated blood drain directly into pulmonary veins, causing a reduction in the partial pressure of oxygen. And the second reason is venae cordis minime. Yeah, venae cordis minime. They carry deoxygenated blood of heart. And instead of getting into the right side, some of them get into the left side of the heart. That again reduces the partial pressure of oxygen on the left side. So when the expected arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is 97 millimeter of mercury, The actual arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is only 95 millimeter of mercury. When the arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is 95 millimeter of mercury, yeah, hemoglobin, normal adult hemoglobin is 97% saturated. And when hemoglobin is 97% saturated, 1 gram of hemoglobin can transport 1.34 ml of oxygen in the bound form. Do you understand this? Normal adult hemoglobin, 1 gram of it, when it is 97% saturated, 1 gram of hemoglobin can carry 1.34 ml of oxygen. So 1 deciliter of arterial blood, yeah, 1 deciliter of arterial blood, which is supposed to have 15 grams of hemoglobin. We know that the normal hemoglobin concentration is 15 grams per deciliter. So 1 deciliter of arterial blood, which has 15 grams of hemoglobin, would carry how much of oxygen in the bound form? 1 gram carries 1.34 ml. So 15 grams of hemoglobin will carry 15 into 1.34 ml of oxygen in the bound form. When you calculate it, it would be 19.5 ml of oxygen. So please remember 1 deciliter of arterial blood. All these units are very important. If you don't concentrate on units, memorizing number carries no significance. Okay. So 1 deciliter of arterial blood carries 19.5 ml of oxygen in the bound form. And please remember, your blood does not only carry oxygen in the bound form, it also carries oxygen in the dissolved form in plasma. And that is a constant. Yeah, the amount of oxygen dissolved in plasma is a constant, and that is 0.3 ml of oxygen per deciliter of plasma. Okay, when the arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen is 100 millimeter of mercury. Yeah, this is a statement which you all should memorize. You should all have it by heart if you want to set up a ventilator. Do you understand this? So what is the amount of oxygen dissolved in plasma? It is 0.3 ml of oxygen per deciliter of plasma when the partial pressure of oxygen in the artery is 100 millimeter of mercury. Because what is the only factor which determines how much of oxygen can be dissolved in plasma? It is the partial pressure of oxygen. There can be no other factor which can determine the amount of oxygen dissolved in plasma. So it's a linear function of arteriolar partial pressure of oxygen. It's 0.3 ml per deciliter of plasma. So put together 1 deciliter of arterial blood. Yeah, 1 deciliter of arterial blood will totally have how much of oxygen? I said 19.5 ml of oxygen in the bound form, 0.3 ml of oxygen in the dissolved form. So put together it is 19.8 ml, approximately 20 ml of oxygen. Are you clear so far? 1 deciliter of arterial blood has got 19.8 or 20 ml of oxygen totally. Okay. So let me tell you few numbers in arterial blood and few numbers in venous blood, and I'll ask you to interpret those numbers. Yeah. So in arterial blood, what is the oxygen content? Oxygen content in the sense ml per deciliter. What is oxygen content? Just now I said it is 20 ml per deciliter. Okay, and in arterial blood, what is the carbon dioxide content in ml per deciliter? It is 50 ml per deciliter. So don't you think it's an interesting fact to know? Even in arterial blood, which content is higher? Carbon dioxide content is higher because solubility of carbon dioxide is more. Even in arterial blood, carbon dioxide content is more. Okay. When you look at venous blood values, if you look at venous blood values, oxygen content expressed as ml per deciliter becomes 15 ml. From 20 ml in the arterial blood, when the arterial blood goes through capillaries, you know, you give off oxygen to tissues. When it comes out as venous blood, it's only 15 ml per deciliter. Carbon dioxide content in venous blood is 54 ml per deciliter. So if I ask you what is the amount of oxygen that is diffused into, that has diffused into tissues? Yeah, 20 minus 15 is 5 ml per deciliter. Amount of oxygen given off to tissues is 5 ml per deciliter. So what is the amount of oxygen diffused per minute? Per deciliter it is 5 ml. I'm asking you to find out per minute. Yeah, for that you will have to know the cardiac output. You know, cardiac output is 5000 ml per minute. So 5 ml per deciliter tells you if 100 ml is the blood flow to tissues, your circulation will deliver 5 ml of oxygen. Yeah, 100 ml is the blood flow to tissues. Your circulation will deliver 5 ml of oxygen to tissues. But what is the blood flow per minute? Cardiac output. So it is 5000 ml. So if it is 5000 ml, yeah, it becomes 250 ml per minute. This is a number which you should all remember. Oxygen delivered to tissues. This is nothing but basal oxygen requirement. This is a frequently asked question. Basal oxygen requirement in the sense if a person is at rest, the person is not moving, the person is not running, the person is ideally at rest. Yeah, in that case, what is the oxygen requirement? That is 250 ml per minute. Why should you know this number? To set up a ventilator. Yeah, if you are setting up a ventilator, the person is ideally at rest, right? In that case, you should see to it that your ventilator setup supplies 250 ml of oxygen per minute. Okay. Now look at carbon dioxide values. So look at carbon dioxide values. From 50 ml, it has become 54 ml. So what is the carbon dioxide taken off from tissues? It is 4 ml per deciliter. So per minute, carbon dioxide taken off per minute is equal to 4 ml per deciliter tells you if 100 ml is the blood flow, yeah, tissues give off 4 ml of carbon dioxide. So if 5000 ml is the blood flow per minute, it is 200 ml per minute. Okay. So oxygen delivered to tissues. These are the facts which you should remember. Oxygen delivered to tissues per minute is 250 ml per minute. This is the basal oxygen requirement. Carbon dioxide taken off from tissues is 200 ml per minute. Now what is respiratory quotient? Yeah, respiratory quotient is calculated as carbon dioxide exhaled per minute by oxygen inhaled per minute. You understand this? Respiratory quotient is calculated as carbon dioxide exhaled per minute by oxygen inhaled per minute. That way, what are you trying to calculate? For this much of oxygen which is taken by the body, how much of carbon dioxide is produced by the body? Or in other words, you're trying to assess the rate of internal respiration. Yeah, you're trying to check the rate of internal metabolism, internal respiration or internal metabolism. That's why it's called as respiratory quotient. And if you calculate it, what did I tell you is carbon dioxide exhaled per minute? 200 ml. Oxygen inhaled per minute is 250 ml. So 200 by 250 would be 0.8. So if a person is on a mixed balanced diet, yeah, if a person is on a mixed balanced diet at rest, what is the respiratory quotient? It is 0.8. Have you understood it so far? So that's about respiratory quotient. So we have done two objectives. First, I told you few numbers related to circulation. Then I told you what is respiratory quotient. Now the third objective is to understand alveolar gas equation. And it's no point if you just memorize the alveolar gas equation because you're going to forget it, right? So if you understand the scientific basis of how the equation is derived, at any point you will be able to recollect the equation. So I'm going to tell you the scientific basis of alveolar gas equation, for which first I'll tell you the equation. Yeah. So the equation is alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to, yeah, alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air minus alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide by respiratory quotient. Yeah, I know this looks and sounds complicated. It has got too many terms, right? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air minus alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide by respiratory quotient. But if I tell you the scientific basis of this, it's very easy to remember. Okay, for which I'm going to recollect, or I'm going to help you recollect all the numbers which I told you previously. First, tell me, how will you calculate atmospheric partial pressure of oxygen? Atmospheric partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure into fraction of oxygen, right? And as I told you, if you calculate it, it is 760 into 21 by 100, which is 160 millimeter of mercury. So at sea level in the atmospheric air, you have 160 millimeter of mercury partial pressure of oxygen. And when you breathe this air, when the air gets into alveoli, it is not 160. I said alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is 100 millimeter of mercury. So what is the reason for this reduction from 160 to 100? Because two dilutions happen on the way. The first one is your airways have air conditioning effect. That is, your airways add water vapor to the incoming air. Yeah. So when it adds water vapor, any space that is occupied by the water vapor cannot have oxygen. So you have to remove the effect of water vapor in the incoming air to know how much of oxygen is present, right? So if I ask you to calculate what is the partial pressure of oxygen in the inspired air, here you don't have the total atmospheric pressure. Some of it is diluted by water vapor. So atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor, and in that you have 21% of oxygen. So what is the formula for oxygen in the inspired air? It is atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air. And atmospheric pressure, you know already, is 760, and partial pressure of water vapor is always 47. 760 minus 47 into 21 by 100. And if you calculate it, it is 150 millimeter of mercury. So from 160 in the atmosphere, in the airways, it is reduced to 150 millimeter of mercury, and you have not yet got the 100 millimeter of mercury which is expected in the alveoli. So what is the reason for the next reduction? The second reason for the reduction is once air gets into alveoli, you know some oxygen would immediately get into pulmonary capillary. Right? The moment air gets into alveoli, because of gas exchange, some oxygen will immediately get into pulmonary capillary. So that oxygen inhaled into pulmonary capillary should be subtracted. Okay. So what is the formula for alveolar partial pressure of oxygen? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to, right, total atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air. From here, what has to be subtracted? Oxygen inhaled. Right? You have to subtract oxygen inhaled. Now, what is respiratory quotient? I said respiratory quotient is equal to carbon dioxide exhaled by oxygen inhaled. So what is oxygen inhaled equal to? Just cross multiply. Oxygen inhaled is equal to carbon dioxide exhaled by respiratory quotient. So I'm going to substitute oxygen inhaled with carbon dioxide exhaled by respiratory quotient. So what is the formula now? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air minus, instead of oxygen inhaled, I'm going to substitute it with carbon dioxide exhaled by respiratory quotient. Okay. Now, where will the carbon dioxide that is exhaled stay? The carbon dioxide that is exhaled is going to be there in the alveoli. Do you understand this? The carbon dioxide that has come out of the pulmonary capillary is going to be there in the alveoli. So instead of having it as carbon dioxide exhaled, I am going to substitute it with alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So what is the final alveolar gas equation? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air minus alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide by respiratory quotient. And isn't this the equation which I told you when I started about alveolar gas equation? Yeah, which made you all get confused, yeah, get threatened. But actually it's a simple equation. Okay, so I'm going to tell you and write the alveolar gas equation again, and we are going to meet the last objective wherein we are going to find the answer for the question which I posted. Okay, so what is the alveolar gas equation? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure minus partial pressure of water vapor into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air minus alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide by respiratory quotients. Okay. So this is alveolar gas equation. Now what are we going to use this equation for? After you set up a ventilator, I'm telling you the application of alveolar gas equation. The application is, after you set up a ventilator, you should be able to find out what will be the alveolar partial pressure of oxygen for my setup. Yeah, for this setup, what would be the alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is what you need to know, right? For which, can you dip an oxygen electrode into every alveolus and see what is the partial pressure there? You can't. So you have to calculate it. If it can't be measured, you have to calculate it. And for calculating that, we are using this equation. If that is the application of this equation, do you get it? If that is the application of this equation, can you look at the equation and try to find out a limitation of this equation? I'll give you 10 seconds time. Yeah, have a look at this equation and find out what is the limitation of this equation. The obvious limitation is, if you can't measure alveolar partial pressure of oxygen, it means you can't measure alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide. So if you say I'm not going to dip an oxygen electrode, it means you can't dip a carbon dioxide electrode as well. Logical, right? So why do we still use this equation? We still use this equation because alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide any day can be replaced as arteriolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide diffusion across any membrane is perfect. So if you want to know what is the alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide, you don't have to go to the alveoli, because it's going to be the same in the pulmonary capillary. For which again, you don't have to go to the pulmonary capillary. It is going to be the same in any peripheral artery. Yeah, so using an arterial blood gas analyzer, you will be able to find out what is the arteriolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and that can be substituted in this formula. That's not the same case for partial pressure of oxygen, because oxygen diffusion is variable. So if you don't know if you don't know alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that can be substituted with arteriolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that can be measured using an arterial blood gas analyzer. And even if you don't have that analyzer, you don't have to worry, because most commonly arteriolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be maintained as 40 millimeter of mercury unless the person presents with type 2 respiratory failure, which is very uncommon. Yeah, because what is the stimulus for your respiratory center? The stimulus for your respiratory center is hypercarbia, which means your respiratory center gets stimulated even if the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is lifted from 40 to the next 41 millimeter of mercury. So for all practical purposes, we assume that the person does not suffer from type 2 respiratory failure, and we substitute this with 40. Okay, so I have given you enough prelude about alveolar gas equation. Now let's answer the question which I posted in the group. Okay, so what is the question I posted? What is the alveolar partial pressure of oxygen when 100% oxygen is administered at 4 atmospheric pressure? This is the question. So what is the formula? Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen is equal to total atmospheric pressure. At sea level, I said it's 760. But here the ventilator is set up as 4 atmospheric pressure. So it is 4 into 760. Okay. Minus partial pressure of water vapor is always 47. So 4 into 760 minus 47 into fraction of oxygen in the inspired air. Usually it is 21% oxygen that is inhaled by you, but here it's 100% oxygen. So 100 by 100 is 1. Okay, minus alveolar partial pressure of carbon dioxide. I said if it's not provided, you take it as 40 by respiratory quotient is 0.8. Now that you have all the numbers, it is 4 into 760, okay, minus 47 minus 40 by 0.8. If you calculate it, you would get it as 2943 millimeter of mercury, which is approximated as 3000 millimeter of mercury. So this is the answer for that question. Alveolar partial pressure of oxygen for this ventilator setup is 3000 millimeters of mercury. So this is how conceptually you have to approach every question. Whenever you read a question, it's not like you'll have to memorize the answer. It's not just you memorizing the formula and just applying the numbers. You will have to know the background of every equation, in which case you'll be able to apply it whenever you're supposed to do it. Okay. So thank you. All the best.